Right. So, brother, I think we are live for the Epic Author Show. This is Spencer Humm. I'm Trevor Crane, and today we're going to talk about Spencer's new book called Win. I wish you had it printed, brother, and we could hold it up. What I'm waiting to see is whether or not, we are live in 3 seconds. I think we're live on YouTube right now, but we're streaming live as of now. I think it's now. So I think we're streaming live now on Amazon as well. So good to see you here, brother.
Nice to see you, Trevor.
All right, my friend. So every time I do an interview for the Epic Author Show, I want to showcase your book, talk about why you wrote it, what you're doing with your book to go ahead and grow your business, your brand, your mission, your movement. So Spencer, could you do for me a real quick favor of doing an introduction for yourself? And I'm going to do one for you. Spencer Humm is a stand-up comedian. He is a professional bullwhip instructor trainer for like Hollywood. He's been a stuntman. He has like the most Renaissance man I've ever actually met. He's jumped out of airplanes and millions of things like that. I think he's wrestled alligators. I don't know if that one's actually true, but I've helped Spencer write a book called Win. It's right behind your head here, the way that we've got this. Let me see if I can line it up so we can see the whole thing there. So that's the title of your new book. Spencer, give us a real introduction for yourself real quickly, and then we can jump into your book.
So I help companies win business on the one hand as a coach and consultant, and I'm also a keynote speaker. I have a background in behavioral and cognitive psychology. I combine that with a background in entertainment, which is all communication oriented, really. And then also business development, right? So all of those roll together in everything I do. I've had parallel careers my whole life. That's it. How do you get to be a Renaissance man? I'll tell you. You do comedy on the weekends, touring the country, and then during the week, you start a second career Monday through Friday consulting for companies, right? So it gave me something to do during the week. I've done over 3,000 shows in 15 countries. So the entertainment part's well past being a hobby. And all of that, these two parallel careers are kind of starting for the first time in my life to roll together to be in my keynote speaking and in creating the book and all of that. So I'm taking all the stuff I've learned from the world of entertainment. Again, most of that is kind of comedy. I do a lot of comedy, but I also do a lot of action. I worked for Marvel a couple years ago on their choreography development team. And I've done over 10,000 live sword fights for audiences. So I've got all this crazy vast experience, and I'm trying to roll it together for everybody in my keynote speaking, where I can fully share both sides of this crazy life I've led. And the topic is winning. How do you win? How do you create success in your life? In my coaching, in my corporate coaching world, that means winning multi-million, multi-billion dollar contracts. And I help companies win about $1 billion a year currently for the last 25 years. And then in life,
let me interject that for a second here, because this is something that we focused on when we first started talking, which was how many what's the value? How many contracts did you win, like money wise? So you said $1 billion a year potentially. So have you done the math yet recently on the contracts that you've won?
That is, I've never done the math on counting how many I won. We mainly just count the dollars we've won. So
that's what I mean.
Some
dollars.
of the
Okay, that's what I meant.
Yeah, 25 billion was the last count. The last time I sat down and added it all up, but I've probably won a couple billion since then. So it's probably
over
climbing.
25 billion. So here's what, and I'm going to go ahead and share your your book here real quickly on Amazon. I apologize if it's backwards or forwards. I think it's actually right here, but
it looks good.
This
to me,
is Spencer's new book, Win, $1 Billion Secrets for Winning in Business and in Life. And it's kind of like a personal development book as much as it is a book that that can help you in business. And Spencer's expertise for 25 years is teaching presentation skills in such a way that you win the $1 billion contract. So I think this is a book to definitely check out, and you should check out Spencer Humm. Dude, how can people get in touch with you? Because I normally wait to the end, but come on, what's your website for this so they can find you?
So you can stalk me all over the web just by Googling Spencer Humm. I'm all over YouTube with various comedy content and whatnot, but I'm also at oralscoaching.com. That's what we call government presentations.
Orals
They're called
coaching.
government oral presentations, and orals for short. So I'm at oralscoaching.com for that line of work, but I help, it's not just government, it's public sector, it's commercial as well, just helping people win contracts when they're out there competing to win award for a contract. When there's an RFP out and they're asking for bidders to do a presentation, that's my swim lane. Helping people make the communication align with what's important to that customer and have you stand out as the vendor of choice when they could choose anybody.
Well, and I have you coach our clients in Epic Author on how do they become better presenters and speakers and trainers and things. So you should check Spencer out for that. But brother, let's talk about your book for a little bit and how you've leveraged your book or leveraging your book into impacting people and helping you in your life and business. And I'll share my screen in such a way then again, let me go ahead and do it just you. If you look over Spencer's head, shoulder right here, and it says win, I think it's actually backwards on this, so I messed that up. But dude, when we came up with your book title idea, because you are somebody that could write a lot of different books, and a lot of my clients that I work with will write multiple books. They'll say, hey, I could do this, that, or the other. And we had to identify which was the best book for you. Correct me if I'm wrong. That damn name win, even in that font, was up behind your head when we started this journey, correct? Because we had to decide,
Yeah, that's
okay,
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're going to do
I
a
had
book,
these.
which is the
Yeah,
right book.
I've always had this sort of fixation on logos that are all lowercase in a typewriter font with a period. So I've done that before, and it tends to be a part of my brand, right? So I will sign emails like on all underscore Spence period, right? All under lowercase, Spence period with a period on my name. I don't know. It helps. As Spence is a pretty unique name already, but it helps me kind of, I don't know, brand a little bit there. But so when you met me, I had the word, because of the coaching that I was doing, I just had the word win up in these stainless steel letters on the wall. And you said during one of our meetings, he goes, what if that's the name of your book? Just win. Like, what if that, and then you could do lots of spinoffs, winning presentations, winning business, winning big contracts, winning life, winning your day, all of these different ideas we've been toying with. So that's the book, Win. And it really does combine humor with good life advice. And here's the thing. So what I help people do when they come to me to work on winning a contract through a presentation, there's no Microsoft publishing program for people. Right? You can't just push print and then a presentation of people comes out. So these companies, they have to negotiate this gap, this fuzzy area of human behavior, because they're going to send their engineers, all of their technical experts and their managers and people to talk to their potential customer, which can oftentimes be like, the US Navy or the Department of Energy or the city of San Francisco. These are all customers I've had recently. And they're going to all compete, with and giving this information. Here's what you asked for. Here's what we're offering in response to all your needs. And here's what makes us different. But these are not professional. These are not professional presenters. These are professional rocket scientists, professional network engineers, professional managers, right? So there's a lot of room. It would be great if they were professional presenters, wouldn't it? But they're not, right? So that's where I come in. And I help them not only just from my theater background and from communication and psychology, also all the business development stuff that rolls business strategy into the presentation. So the end result is that they win the contract. And so the reason I bring this up in terms of the book is that the reason I exist in that field is because of humanity, and people are people. They're not things. Right. So I go in to deal with the humanity within that company and how to work with, just teaching them a new behavioral skill, which is every bit as difficult as learning to, bat in a batting cage. There's coaching that needs to be done. This is a skill, right? You can't just say, Steve, go learn to bat, in the batting cage and hope that your manager goes in there or your network engineer and just starts knocking them out of the park, right? So I help them deal with that humanity portion of it. And so the book kind of starts in humanity, because all the things that it takes to win business in terms of, not only checking the boxes of what they're actually answering for and giving a compliant response to what their customer's looking for, but also appealing to the reasons that they created those requirements, the emotional things, learning to speak the language of what's important to people, right? And so that goes all the way back to our, the place we can learn the most about that is just looking at ourselves, right? And what's important to us and how are we living our lives. So on the one hand, if you position your business offer in alignment with the things that people care about, and you speak that language, and you can blend your offering of the capabilities you're offering, blend it in with a conversation about what's important to your customer, right? You're going to win that business. Likewise, in your life, when we're talking about the real basic stuff, being happy, right? Being successful, or as I'm, sort of creating my own jargon around the topic, winning. When you're winning, what does that mean? It means you're creating things in your life. You're creating experiences, your results in your life and experiences that align with the things that are most important to you. And that on the personal side creates happiness. So for me, if you're studying personal, positive psychology, winning psychology, how to be happy, or you're studying business development, you're really studying the same thing. So the book rolls it together and starts teaching it from your base, like you as a human being. And then we start to weave business into it as we go
Well, I'm
along.
looking at that on your book description here because I'm on Amazon as I scroll around, and that's your first bullet point here of connect with your own inner win compass that leads you to find your happiest moments. And so I think that's really cool that you have that distinction about everybody gets to define their own win. When I help people create a book that's going to create their success, our company's called Epic Author. I want to help somebody reverse engineer their success. And I'm like, okay, we only publish successful authors. So what does success look like to you? And Spence, when we originally talked about your book, it was like, okay, you could have written a book about bullwhip instructor training or whatever that is, all the stuff that you've done in the past. But it was like, okay, what do you have under your belt that you're actually extraordinarily good at? And in this case, it was like winning billion-dollar contracts. And it's like, hold on, it seems like everything you do is focused on this win. And I was like, all right, if that's the piece, then how can we leverage that into what's going to be your next chapter? So next chapter is you as a speaker and author, and I know you're working on a TED Talk right now. Talk a little bit about, now that you've identified a message and a voice, and one of maybe many books on winning, and this one is about winning. I keep looking over my shoulder because this is where I have it on my desktop here. But how you win billion-dollar contracts, or how you go ahead and have that quality of life, dude. What's next for you on this book, and how are you using it to impact the world or create the results that you want? So I know you have a new special speaking career. Talk to us a little bit about what that is, because that's the purpose and intention of Epic Author, is not that you're this starving author that has this book that's badass that nobody gets to see. So what's next?
So in terms of the theme of the book, and I'll get to kind of the what's next, this is the why of what's next. In the book, we talk about what are your happiest moments? How do you really discover your win compass, the set of things that are important to you that you move towards, or the things you hate that you move away from, right? The things that motivate you. And when you interact with these things, you're going to achieve more or less happiness, right? So if you interact with the stuff that you hate more, spend more time dealing with that stuff, you're not going to be as happy. But if you spend more time in alignment with the stuff that makes you happy, you're going to be winning. You're going to be happier, right? So the part of that is looking at what makes you happy, and we get access to that. We retrocast that through just talking to people about, and asking yourself if you're the reader. But I like to do it in conversation with people. What are your happiest moments? And they tell me these amazing stories, like, oh, this was a thing I was working on. It all came together, and all my friends showed up unexpectedly, and it was the best day of my life. And you just hear these great stories of these people being totally satisfied winning, right? And so so in that vein, what makes me happy, right? It's going to be getting on stage. I'm a bit of a junkie when it comes to being on stage in front of
Yeah,
people. It's
you're
how
freaking insane. So, like, for anybody, like, so one of the most challenging public speaking venues you can probably come up with is like stand-up comedy, which you've done for how many decades, you old man?
I guess I'd say 30 years plus, right? Yeah.
Woo! That's not, you're not 20 anymore. So, like, owning the stage is key. So leveraging your book now, and I know that you were doing that before, but what's this next phase? And talk about what the new TED Talk is going to be about. And I don't even actually know if it's tying in exactly to this book or not. And then where do you want that to go for you? And this is where I want to kind of get into some clarity about things that I don't know about what's next for you, Spencer, and maybe a chance to coach you and challenge you to craft different and bigger wins. So, as opposed to this being any kind of contrived interview, not that mine are ever, but really, truly, what's next? Because I don't need to hear the book is going to be awesome. Go check it out. I think you've got it on. It's on sale for $3. So I hope that's worth it. If anybody wants to go check it out on Amazon, okay, you can. There it is. It's awesome. It's how to win.
It's just a random price that
Yeah,
our
$3.29. You're going
admin.
to
Yeah,
really
it's
break the
totally
bank on
random.
that one.
Yeah. Well, it's going to go up soon. But in any case,
Doesn't need
we
to
just
go
made
up. Let everybody
it's a
have it.
placeholder. Yeah, there you
What's
go. So
next? What's next?
yeah,
How
so
you
what?
leverage it?
So as we were saying, like when Trevor asked me, and it was funny because we had a difference of opinion, because in Trevor's mind, presentations are things that you do to connect with more people so that you can then do what you love. Right. And in my mind, like I said, presentations, that's the part I love. Like I'm already there when I get on that stage. Right. And so we had to get clear on that with me, was that for me, the stage is the destination. That's my home. So the idea is to get, and this is a great conversation in terms of, we're talking about books and publishing and whatnot, but this is really about hitting a result. And for me, the result is to be on stage, helping people, connecting, making people laugh, expanding their minds, giving them really cool experiences. And then also rolled into that, for me, one of my values on my win compass is we're collaborating with great people, with great, cool people, the people I haven't collaborated with before, or people that I already love collaborating with, that if I don't schedule a project, I will not see these friends, for another few years. Right. So that's the goal.
Okay.
So right now
Let me
we've got
let
an
me interject. You
Yeah, go ahead.
mentioned
Yeah.
collaboration. I want to break something down. So the first thing was, I asked Spencer, how's he going to use the book? This is the answer to the question. And so I think I shared it, so you can only see my screen. Um, Authors always have ideas about what they want. So that's step number one. So Spencer said the win for him is having the stage in and of itself as a win. Now, my job when I'm working with Spencer, who was a client, and I helped him with this book, was to challenge him about that. Right? He had this idea that I'm going to write a book about ABC, XYZ. I mean, we were talking about it for a while. And the second thing, I believe, is about who it's going to impact. Like, who are you targeting? Who's the book for? Who are the people that you love? The heart here is that you love people and that you're going to have impact with them. And so, brother, that's kind of what you're talking about happiness and love and whatever is going with this, and the people that you get to connect with. My spam phone ringing. And then I challenged you, like I'm doing now, like what's next for you is, what do you want? This should be just as big as the others, but I ran out of page space. What are the things that they love? And you said that the end result for you is being on the stage, but I challenge you, how about you turn one stage into many? Or what is the next stage you want to get on? Which now we're alluding into, I know I interrupted you, dude, but this is the coaching part of what I feel like you created. And also now I'm curious about what's to next. Because by the way, if anybody ever chooses to work with Epic Author, I'm going to challenge your ass to go ahead and create bigger goals. Define a win that is going to be powerful for you. Sorry, pick it up where you took off, brother.
So, for instance, if I were to tell you any story that, about a happy moment for me, there's probably going to be a few factors that are going to be there. because this is what makes me happy. I'm going to probably be on a stage. I'm probably going to be with friends that I love and are amazing and they're great to perform with. And I can't create, like, we're greater than the sum of our parts, right? I can't do what I'm doing without them. I'm probably providing value to enrich people's lives and well-being, right? Whether it's in business or personal. And I'm probably traveling, right? So these are the things that and okay, the pinky, right? But the very important pinky is probably and making a bunch of money, right? So that's important because that greases the wheels for everything, right? So in order to create that, and I'm on middle of my journey, which is a really cool place to be for this interview because I've been working with Trevor for a couple of years. We wrote the book, we did all the research to find out what my market wants to hear about, what value do I have to give that people are hungry to hear, right? We've written the ebook, and it's out there. We hit our number one, a great success there. But really, as I look, I want to move on. I want to get the hard copy now. I want to make some little improvements to increase the value of the book, put some links to bonus material that I'm going to be hosting at winningsychology.com. That will be another stage that I'll be on in terms of offering online courses and extra value for me and the world. I love that mission because wow, what it's very altruistic, or just it's very high level, just winning psychology. It's a venue and a sandbox that I could use to really provide massive value for people, and bring things really creatively together, in a space that in my way, in the way that I do it, which I think is a fun way to do it.
All right, all right.
So
So let me.
this
I'm
net,
gonna
yeah,
go ahead and I'm gonna take over here, and I'm gonna frame what I just heard. Okay. So
sure,
ideally, I'm just sharing my screen, and I've got. Here's what I always want to help people with. And so if somebody's watching this right now, if you're watching this right now, then this is about you reverse engineering your success. And in that example, it is the bullet, the bullseye. And Spencer and I jumped onto this without any preconceived idea of what we are going to talk about here. So he's like, this is what I want next. And so this is where it begins. It's a brainstorm. He says, I want the stage. Okay. Spence, you said you want to be with people that you love on that stage. You said you want travel. And then we got to something. You're like, I want a boatload. That's supposed to be my boat. That's actually you on there.
using
That's
polite
you.
language, yeah, a
a
whole lot of
boat
money,
a boatload
a
of money
boatload.
to make things happen. And so I know that the next phase for you, TEDx event, that you're gearing up that presentation and you're working with the presentation coach on that. Let's go ahead and I'm challenging anybody watching right now to think about what is the result that you want that's next. So what did Spencer say? Dude, you said that your paperback book is about to come out. By the way, y'all, I think that's like a birthday. You celebrate that shit. So we're going to have a celebration, Spence, about this new paperback coming out. Now, when you have a birthday for yourself or your spouse or a kid, you have to pick a day. Like, when's the day it's going to come out? And then how are you going to plan that party? And that party might have clowns and it might have alcohol. And depending on, it just depends on what you're going to have at your party. And what are the
Both is
results that
best.
you want to have happen? Would you say clothing optional?
Both is no, both are best. Clowns and alcohol whenever possible. It's the good
Clowns,
combination.
alcohol, clothing optional. So here's the question for anybody listening right now, and I'm challenging you about your book if you've already got one or if you want to make one. What is the result that you want for the next launch, whatever it is? And Spence, as a customer and a client of Epic Author, I want to have you back after you achieve this goal. So what is a result that you want? Whether it's at the next launch of your paperback or something else that we can use as a measure of your impact success that makes you happy and calls it a win.
So I've got a list here, right? And I'll be concise, but I want to have that paperback out before my TED Talk goes viral because I'm committed to doing a viral TED Talk that gets thousands and thousands and thousands of views, right? So I want to have that paperback out so there's something to lead people to. I want to help the book in value a little bit by revising it slightly, adding some really cool little bonus items to it. I want to have great reviews on the back cover, which is going to help my authority, which is going to help me book more speaking gigs. I want to have a beautiful cover. I want to have beautiful formatting. I'd like to have 100 units on hand so that I can gift them to people as a part of a just connection, engagement, marketing, all the above strategy, just adding value to the world, right? And it's just a key piece of it's a key piece for my speaking business. So having that complete allows me to then move on to developing the Winning Psychology website and developing more keynote speeches and the audiobook, and I'm very excited. The book is funny, right? The book is funny. I wrote it. My editor was also my comedy writing partner, right? So we had a really fun time writing it. And so the audiobook's going to be a lot of fun. And I am really looking forward to that. But we got to get through this milestone first. So it's
Okay, so
all part of
let's.
this. Yep.
So
And just
here's the thing: is
a
that
long arc that leads towards me traveling the world, speaking to great audiences, creating amazing experiences. That's what we're all pointed towards. And this is one milestone along the way.
okay? So we're in capture mode, where I'm challenging Spencer to get clear about the result he what he talked about. And so actually, if you're listening to this right now, I'm challenging you to do the same. And I just captured what he said. I want the book out. This is where we begin. Like, I don't know, I want the book out. I want to revise it and make it better. I want to get a bunch of reviews. And then you tied it up like, hold on, I forgot about that. I want to be traveling the world with people I love, doing things that I love, right? So I might call this, I'm going to try to draw a glass. That's a glass. That's like a holy grail. That is champagne goes in there. That's like bubbly. Okay. So here's the thing. What is your champagne moment? So I'm asking anybody listening right here, and Spence, for you, if you can think about a champagne moment. You mentioned, I mean, I kind of reframed it as traveling the world with people you love, doing things you love. What is a champagne moment that would make you, like, I don't know, do you want to speak in Egypt? Like a friend of mine, Elijah, just
Yeah.
told me he's on a plane to go overseas. He's going to Egypt and a couple of other places. Like, what is a and you've already done a lot of traveling and a lot of speaking and a lot of presenting and stuff. So if we were to put a cherry on top of this sucker and be drinking champagne, what does that look like for you for next?
Yeah. So that's pretty easy. Yeah. It's just that I am traveling to events that are outstanding events. So you're right. So, Egypt is a great one, right? Dubai, Las Vegas, Tokyo, London, just really super cool places. Being with really cool people that I'm going there to meet, bringing some cool people along with me, and then creating experiences for them that are just incredibly memorable. Right. And there's one more value on my win compass we talked about, I didn't mention, and that's mischief. There's always this, I always like the things that I create to be a little bit like a fraternity prank, like where you take an entire Volkswagen Bug apart and then reassemble it on the roof of the dean's house. Like, whoa, like something really mischievous about it. That takes the audience off guard, right? So that's a little bit of it too. So off somewhere, let's say I'm in Tokyo with some really cool friends doing some content in a speech or an event that's funny, that's informative, and we're blowing their minds with all of the crazy talents that I've brought along. My friends, either we're doing sword fights or we're doing juggling
Okay.
or comedy or whatever it is, DJing.
Okay. So
I don't know.
here's what I'm imagining, and I'm gonna create a fictional future stage and champagne moment. Okay.
Yeah.
And I would challenge everybody listening right now to do the same thing. Think of a moment in Happy Gilmore. That movie with Adam Sandler. He had a happy place that he went to, and there was like he was writing. There was a midget writing a thing. It was really weird, but it was like his happy place and whatnot. So, what's your happy place? So, here's an idea for you: is that whether you said Tokyo or Egypt or whatever, I'm imagining a time when you're on a stage overseas, because it seems like you don't want to do this in the U.S. Like part of
No,
this
I totally do.
measurability.
I
Well,
totally do. Also other cool
also the
places,
U.S.
Las Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how about you're on a stage to entertain in front of the people that you want to be connecting with, whether it's in Tokyo or Japan or you name the stage. And the book is something that you talk about and bring out on stage. and you celebrate something either that's a story in the book or what it helped give you, and you can share comedy, or you can share transformation, or you can share, challenges, whatever it is. But you actually pop a bottle of champagne on stage to celebrate the win, whether it's a win that is something that you a pain that you avoided or something else. But we can, and here, I don't know, it's I'm making this shit up, but I would challenge you to come up with a champagne moment specifically where you're on stage. I remember I watched the comedian uh, Chris Rock. Is it Chris Rock? I saw this special of Chris Rock, and it showed him walking from backstage coming out on stage, and there's this big auditorium full of people. And I remembered I paused it and shot pictures or whatnot of it, and I have this in my mind. It was a silhouette of the camera shot of him coming out on stage, and he jumped up. Suspense. It was like I wanted a future where I had a stage like that, and it had him leaping up, and it was a picture of his back, basically, because it was looking at what the view he had, and he leapt up, and it was like that was a moment that I wanted to have happen, where I was on stage and I was jumping. I was so excited. And years later, I got on stage with Tony Robbins, and I shared the stage with him in front of the stadium that looked very familiar to that Chris Rock time, and that was it. Now, I was dressed up like an Indian. I had my shirt off, and I was dressed up singing the YMCA or performing it in front of a weird audience. It was a weird situation, but I was on that stage. I did make something happen. So I would challenge everybody right now to consider a champagne moment that is special to you, and what you can go ahead and create this happy place so you can manufacture it. You can reverse engineer that success. And Spencer, as you launch this TED Talk and you improve your book for your next launch, and you plan the special birthday party with clowns and whatever you end up putting into it, I would get really clear about the money and the impact and the people, and craft this vision, because then we can reverse engineer it. And that's your call to action. Since you're in the process of creating it, I knew that's what we're going to do today, and really craft a thing that will make it feel like a win, because it's going to be unique to you, and it's unique to every author. So what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I like that idea of a champagne moment. Our friend Dino calls it a princess goal from the Mario games, right? There's a princess that you rescue. It's the ultimate end result, right, that you're looking for. And again, I think, I've had many champagne moments in my life, right? And this is just the game of again, it's perfect the way you're saying it, reverse engineering it, right? To look at how do you get more of that. Some of the best moments that I've experienced on stage, I can remember so many of them. Some of them were sitting in the audience, like leaning up against the wall in the darkness of the audience, watching the thing that I had created as my elaborate, fraternity prank of a production, and watching the audience freak out about how cool it was, and sitting there and just like tears rolling down my face from like how great I had just created this. So if I were to project that into the future, I would be thinking about being in front of big audiences as a keynote speaker, having some friends there to help me provide that extra next level of crazy surprise. Who would have ever thought this would happen kind of value, right? And being on stage and watching just the room catch fire with people connecting with their own champagne moment. And that's what the win is all about. It's about getting to more of your winning moments, right? And so that me on stage helping many, many people connect with that. That's the champagne moment I'm picturing. And yeah, it could be someplace exotic, some crazy stuff's going on. I always picture like DJ turntables and a lot of disco lights and just some crazy production value level, right? Yeah. So is that what am I answering the?
Well, yeah. And what I see you doing, and what I challenge anybody listening right now to do, is to get clarity about this vision, this win that you've got, that you can get excited for, and that you can manufacture happening. And I would say even start to enjoy before it happens, because the journey between here and there has got a lot of steps. I have done this in 2 ways in my life about something specific. And what I hear you doing right now, Spence, is talking about what that would look like for you or what that could look like for you. And you started to define it. And one of the things you just mentioned was you're not just on stage, but you're on stage with someone. So see the evolution of this. And oh, that's because we're going to surprise and delight the audience. Oh, hold on. You know what else I want? I want them to find their win, not just me celebrate theirs. And I'll bet you're thinking about times as a comedian and the millions of times you've been on stage when the audience was on fire with excitement, enthusiasm, or energy or emotion. So that's being added to it. And this happy place, this magic moment, this champagne moment, princess moment, whatever you want, grows. And so the two I was just thinking of now while you were talking, because when somebody tells their story, I feel like it sometimes triggers your own. I remember I was part of a business at one stage, and I was leading a bunch of people, and I went with my friend to watch the sunrise in Las Vegas. And we watched this sunrise over the mountains outside of the city. And it was this beautiful red rock looking landscape. And then as the sun came up, the orange was as the sun came up, the orange was this orange sky. And there's a song by Alexi Murdoch or something like that called Orange Sky. And it made me imagine a time when I wasn't there on my own. I wasn't there with a friend. I was there with a team of people that I was leading and part of, that we would be there for sunrise watching the sun come up, and whether it was a meditative yoga type thing or whatever, and we would play echoing through the red rock this song, Orange Sky. And I've yet to experience that, but it's still something. Last time I visited Vegas, I was like, man, I want to make that happen. I still want that to happen. And I actually find joy right now thinking about it, talking about it, and figuring out how I'm going to make that happen. I don't even know what the business is going to be in regards to the people that will be there with me, but it is with people that I love. And then I have another one that when I was in my 20s, I came up with. And somebody, I don't know, good God, if it was from Happy Gilmore or whatnot, but I decided I was going through some things that I didn't like at the time. Like, let's say I didn't have enough money. I was struggling with something. I had to go in for dental things. Holy crap. I just realized I lost my tooth the other day. I got to go back in for dental stuff. So I've been to the dentist a few different times. Not always a happy place to have them doing things in your mouth. And I decided, Spencer, that I didn't want to wait to be happy about things in my life. That one day I would have millions of dollars, and that I would be in love with the woman that I want to be with, and that I would have children, and I'd have all these things. But at the time I was going through things that sucked. Let's say dental surgery or, not have enough money or whatever it was. And I decided that there's no reason to wait to be grateful for those things that I was in the process of building. And so I don't know if I've told you this before, dude, but this is something that I will still dream about and visualize, is a vacation that I'm on with my wife. Dude, when I was in my 20s, before I even had a girl, I decided that I wanted 2 children there, and that I wanted my wife to be this hot woman that I landed a helicopter on top of this building. And then I walked downstairs. My dogs greet me on the stairs. And then I go in, and my wife is serving breakfast to my kids, and I kiss my kids, and I could taste the strawberries on their lips from the strawberry pancakes that they are eating. And then the nanny, or now I've got a 15-year-old daughter and 2 little ones, so it's about time for me to make this thing happen. My nanny would take the kids out, and I would make love to my wife in the kitchen. And this view that I have is one of I could see the ocean and the mountains at the same time. So I recently just asked my friend who does a lot of traveling, I'm like, where is that place? Do you know of a place that I could land a helicopter on it? And the helicopter wasn't just like a tourist thing. Something important. I was out doing something important, and I came back to celebrate, and that I would then have all that happen. And so I'm now crafting that. I asked my buddy, hey, where is it? He's like, it's probably in Brazil, or it could be in Greece or whatever. Like, we were talking about options. And so, I would challenge everybody to come up with your magic moment. And Spencer, I shared those 2 because they're real for me, and they're things that I viscerally want to have happen, and they've yet to happen. But I'm grateful for them today and my happiness of creating them. And I'm finding some urgency around it because I've got this picture of when I want it to happen as well, and who I want to be there. So to have an impact with your book, you've got to decide what that impact is going to be. And we at Epic Author only want to publish successful authors. And every week I plan on having more than one episode like this where I'm interviewing somebody who's making an impact with their book and helping people, and a successful author in some way, shape, or form. And then my challenge when I have anybody who's open to coaching is to try to have them create a new result or desire so that I can invite you back, Spence, to go ahead and say, hey, I hit that champagne moment. And you don't have to wait years to make it happen. You can make it happen in weeks or months, and you can come back whenever you want. So, Spence, that's my question. Are you open to being specific about a champagne moment that you're going to create? I don't care what it is, whatever, and then come back to share with us the journey so that you can celebrate.
Yes, I would say, and there's many champagne moments in my future, but maybe the TED Talk. Like after the TED Talk,
Yeah.
we can talk about. It's nice to be along the journey, right? So that'll be after the paperback comes out, and then the TED Talk comes out, and I have the paperback, and I'm moving on to engaging the world with my message. It'll be a nice milestone and a nice champagne moment. So how about after my next TED Talk?
I love it. I'd like you to create a financial goal of, hey, after you do this, that, or the other, but I'm open to that as well. I know the money will follow, but that's something we got to be specific about as well. And oftentimes people leave out, and you're a very creative dude. This is also the temptation, y'all, is that you're going to think about more stuff you can create, more assets, more reviews, more audiobooks and things, but you want to leverage your authorship and pending authorship into the results that you want to create, and we celebrate those along the journey. So, Spence, brother, any last words for our audience before we wrap this sucker up? Because you've been awesome. Thank you.
I would just say, so just there's in the book I talk about destination wins, and that's your champagne moments as they're happening, at the end of the journey. And those certainly can be enjoyed ahead of time. Like I love talking about my favorite moments, my happiest moments in life. They always lift me up and give me more momentum towards the new ones I'm trying to create. But then also looking for the happy moments along the way, the destination or the journey wins, like the things as you're taking the journey. And I'm trying to connect with people to get reviews for the back cover of my book. And rather than look at that as a chore, like how do I turn that into a win? To connect with these people in a really great way. How could I make that process of connecting with them even better than just the little piece I need to, put a quote on the back of a cover of a book, right? So creating the journey wins along the way to the big destination champagne moment win as well. So that'd be the takeaway. And that's going to be I'm challenging myself to do that.
Well, then as you do it, here's how we do it, guys. This is my little two-step on marketing. Talk to people about your book. In this case, hey, can you review it? Hey, cool person that I like and love, who can you endorse my book and review it? Okay, that's talking to them. And then invite them to something else. So then the question is, what are you inviting them to? And in this case, it could be an ask. Hey, can you share this with people? Hey, can you recommend a stage? Hey, do you know where I can speak to make this champagne moment happen? And that communication, if you don't get clear, if I didn't know that I want to be in the south of France, seeing mountains and ocean or whatever, then I wouldn't be able to know to ask my buddy, talk to them about my vision of what I have, what I want, and who do you know or how can I make it happen? So ask is my coaching for everyone. And Spence, thank you again for being here. Go check out Spencer Humm's new book. It is called Win. You can check it out on Amazon. Of course, you got 12 reviews so far. Let's get you up to 50, 60 reviews. And come on back. I think every Wednesday, the goal is we're going live here on Epic Author for the Epic Author Show. And we'll feature another author who's changing the world with their book. So thanks, brother, for being here.
Thanks, Trevor. Let's win.
Love that.